At first glance, Bhagwan Shree Rajneesh seemed like any other spiritual guru. A man draped in flowing robes, his long silver beard and piercing eyes exuding an air of enlightenment. His teachings on meditation, free love, and the pursuit of inner peace captivated thousands worldwide. To his followers, he was more than a teacher. He was a divine being, a path to transcendence. But behind the serene smile and mystical speeches lay a darkness that few could imagine. This man, who would later become known as Osho, wasn't just another spiritual leader. He was the mastermind behind one of the most shocking and sinister cults in modern history, a cult that would go on to carry out the largest acts of bioterrorism on American soil. Welcome to Cults Uncovered. This is the true and chilling story of the guru who manipulated thousands, created a sect, and ordered the poisoning of an entire town in America. The year was 1981. In the rugged hills of rural Oregon, the air was thick with anticipation. The quiet landscape, dotted with farms and small towns, was about to change forever. Out of the blue, a convoy of luxury cars rolled into a sleepy ranch town, led by none other than Rajneesh himself, surrounded by an army of followers dressed in red. Their eyes burned with devotion, their every move choreographed as if in a trance. These were no ordinary settlers. They were the vanguard of a grand experiment, a utopian city they planned to build from the ground up. But as the locals would soon discover, this was no dream. It was the beginning of a nightmare. Rajneesh was born in India as Chandra Mohan Jain. He started as a small-town philosophy professor, but Rajneesh quickly realized that enlightenment paid way better than academia. He built a thriving enterprise in India, attracting Westerners seeking meaning in their lives. His secret sauce? A potent mix of Eastern mysticism, group therapy, and sexual freedom, also known as free love. So Rajneesh, unsurprisingly, like many cult leaders before him, drew from many influences, from Christianity, Hasidism, yoga, and Zen. Rajneesh was also a vocal critic of Mahatma Gandhi as well as of mainstream religions and socialism. He championed capitalism, science, technology, and birth control. He also warned against overpopulation. He discouraged reproduction and encouraged abortion. He taught his followers that sex was the first step towards achieving spiritual consciousness, and he gave himself the title of sex guru. He believed that the primal energy of sex has the reflection of God in it. His female followers believed sex with Rajneesh was the ultimate darshan because he was viewed as a deity. By 1964, Rajneesh was holding meditation camps and recruiting followers. His meditation retreats attracted thousands of followers to his ashram in India, and most of his devout followers were young Westerners who were coming to India in droves seeking spiritual enlightenment. At some point, his American disciples, who were all given Indian names, greatly outnumbered his Indian followers. He dressed them in orange and red robes. Rajneesh's followers came from all walks of life. They were doctors, lawyers, professors who were searching for more meaning to their existence. He had about 6,000 followers living in and around his commune where they attended meditations, therapy sessions, and lectures. By 1977, there were about 25,000 Rajneeshees worldwide. And to appeal to Westerners, the ashram added therapy sessions to the retreats. Some sessions involved followers hitting each other to release aggression. And just in case you're wondering, they were often naked during these sessions. And as you can expect, Rajneesh was raking in lots of money from all these schemes. In addition to the retreats, he owned a restaurant, book publishing business, and was selling jewelry, pottery, and clothes. But trouble was brewing in India. The authorities were getting fed up with Rajneesh's growing notoriety and his links to some illegal activities like smuggling of drugs, gold, and tax fraud. So what's a guru to do when the heat's on? Pack up and move halfway across the world, of course. Rajneesh set his sights on a new frontier, the United States of America. In 1981, he purchased a sprawling 64,000-acre ranch in the small Oregon town of Antelope, located in Wasco County about 2 hours east of Portland. The property was purchased for nearly $6 million to build the sect's utopian dream. To the untrained eye, it seemed like an ideal location. isolated, vast, and ripe for transformation. But Rajneesh had no intention of simply living off the prime real estate. His vision was far more audacious, and as time would tell, far more dangerous. The mastermind behind this audacious relocation was Sheela Patel, Rajneesh's 31-year-old chief of staff. But Sheela wasn't any typical spiritual seeker. She was a sharp, ambitious, and ruthless lieutenant who wasted no time in executing Rajneesh's plans. She was the perfect instrument for Rajneesh's grand vision. At first, she appeared friendly, even charming to local ranchers and politicians, even hosting lavish parties. She even purchased cattle from a county commissioner, despite the commune being vegetarian. It was all part of the plan to smooth their entry into Oregon life. But here's where things start to get interesting. Sheela made a crucial mistake, one that would set off a chain of events leading to betrayal, violence, and death. She hadn't bothered to check Oregon's strict land use laws before sealing the deal on the ranch. What she didn't know was that in this part of the world, you couldn't just pop a city in the middle of agricultural land. Did this stop Sheela and Rajneesh? Not a chance. They figured that in Oregon, like in India, a little trickery and bribery could get the job done. Sheila's first move was to exploit a loophole in the law that allowed new homes for farm workers. She met with Wasco County planners, cleverly disguising herself and two other Rajneeshees as ordinary folk interested in starting a farm commune. No red robes, no beaded necklaces with Rajneesh's photo, just simple farmers who wanted to restore overgrazed lands. Dan Durau, a fresh-faced county planner, bought the story hook, line, and sinker. They discussed housing for maybe 150 workers, but Sheela had much bigger plans. As the months rolled by, Durau made regular visits to the ranch. He started noticing some odd things. Those 4-bedroom modular houses? They were actually dorms with no kitchens or living rooms. And every time he showed up, mattresses would mysteriously disappear, hiding the true number of people living there. The Rajneeshees weren't just bending the rules, they were twisting them into pretzels. But they needed more because their commune was growing at a fast pace. They needed their own city. Now you might think that starting your own city in the middle of nowhere would be easy. But in Oregon, with its strict land use laws, it was anything but. The Rajneeshees' lawyers advised them to cozy up to an environmental group called 1,000 Friends of Oregon. These people were like the watchdogs of Oregon's farmland, always on alert for any hint of improper development. Sheela and her crew met with the 1,000 Friends lawyers, spinning a tale about needing a city to house thousands of workers who would restore the land. The environmental lawyers weren't buying it. They saw no need for an urban area in the middle of a farm. At first, she tried to win them over with charm, offering a substantial donation to their cause. But when that failed, she showed her true colors, unleashing a barrage of insults and threats that would set the stage for a bitter legal battle. It was classic Sheela. Charm one minute, venom the next. The conflict between the Rajneeshees and 1,000 Friends of Oregon quickly escalated, turning what had started as a land use dispute into an all-out war. The environmental group launched a legal crusade to stop the city from being built. The Rajneeshees, under Sheela's command, fought tooth and nail to defend their vision. They spun a narrative of religious persecution, portraying themselves as innocent spiritual seekers under attack from powerful political interests. They even named their sewage lagoon after the group's executive director. But behind the scenes, the reality was far more sinister. What the public didn't know was that Rajneeshpuram, as they called it, wasn't just a commune. It was a fortress. Hidden from view, the Rajneeshees were stockpiling weapons, conducting illegal surveillance, and laying the groundwork for a reign of terror that would shock the nation. And at the heart of it all was Rajneesh himself. The man who had once preached love and enlightenment, now overseeing an empire of fear and control. As the legal battle raged on, the tension within the sect began to boil over. Power struggles erupted among the leadership, and paranoia spread like wildfire. Sheela's grip on the commune tightened, and those who dared to question her authority quickly found themselves silenced, some permanently. To keep tabs on what was happening inside Rajneesh's compound, she had the place bugged. Hidden microphones were everywhere, even on the guru's favorite chair, disguised as a panic button. The tension between Sheela's group and the guru's inner circle was reaching a boiling point. Even though the Rajneeshees had internal problems, the external pressure was threatening to take down the entire organization faster. They then figured out that the only way for them to change their situation was to take over the entire town for themselves and send the locals packing. To do this, they decided to contest for city council seats in the 1982 local elections. Due to their sheer number, they ended up winning the majority of the city council seats. Soon after they got into the local government, the Rajneeshee's council members raised property taxes to extract money from local residents and passed other bizarre initiatives, including renaming the local recycling center as the Adolf Hitler Recycling Center. All these in a ploy to anger the locals make them leave the town for them. According to Oregon Live, by the end of 1982, 24 business licenses had been issued to the Rajneeshee's business venture. The commune's enterprises included several restaurants, a tour and information service, a jewelry shop, a service station, a plant nursery, a design studio, and a sewage disposal service. They also built hundreds of small houses and created an ambitious farm system on the property too. And interestingly, they had their own airport. They had a security force that was armed with revolvers, semi-automatics, and assault rifles. They also had tear gas grenades and barricade-penetrating shells for police riot guns. According to Oregon Live in 1983, after seeing a film about Nostradamus, Rajneesh began to make apocalyptic predictions. He said that the year 1984 would herald 15 years of catastrophes, including floods, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and nuclear explosions, all leading to a global holocaust. Even though it appears that Rajneeshees had completely taken over the town, they were struggling to get building permits for certain things at the Wasco County level. So they decided to do what they had done before, locally, take over Wasco County as a whole, so they stood for the 1984 Wasco County elections. Sheela hatched a perfect plan, which is that they would poison the locals so that they couldn't get out to vote and pay some homeless people to vote in their place. Their poison of choice was salmonella, a bacteria that can turn a meal into a nightmare. In a series of covert operations, Rajneeshee operatives contaminated salad bars, produce, and even salsas with salmonella across 10 local restaurants. The result was an outbreak that sickened over 750 people, with 45 requiring hospitalization. But this wasn't the only attack. Evidence later revealed that the Rajneeshees had also spread dangerous bacteria at a grocery store, a public building, and even a political rally. The cult's motives were clear. They wanted to incapacitate the local population, ensuring that enough voters would be too sick to cast their ballots. This would allow the Rajneeshees to seize control of Wasco County's government. This was the largest bioterrorism attack in modern American history. Remarkably, no one died, but the attack left a community in fear and confusion. The Rajneeshees also organized around 2,000 homeless people, promising them food and shelter if they turn out to vote for the Rajneeshees on election day. Local officials caught wind of the group's voter fraud scheme, so the Rajneeshees ended up pulling out of the elections 2 days before the vote. While the Rajneeshees targeted their enemies on the outside, internal conflicts within the commune were also reaching a boiling point. Power struggles among the leadership led to plots to murder their own members. The guru's caretaker narrowly escaped death, a reminder that no one was safe within this increasingly paranoid and dangerous cult. Meanwhile, the Rajneeshees were running the largest illegal wiretapping operation ever uncovered in the U.S., along with committing massive immigration fraud to swell their ranks with foreign devotees. As the walls began to close in, the Rajneeshees' secrets couldn't stay hidden forever. The sudden collapse of the commune in 1985 brought many of these dark deeds to light. Criminal charges were filed, leading to a wave of defections and global manhunts. But even then, the full extent of the Rajneeshees' crimes remained obscured. Only now, with access to long secret government files and new interviews with ex-Rajneeshees, has the true scale of their operations come into focus. One of the most chilling revelations is that the Rajneeshees had drawn up plans to assassinate Charles Turner, Oregon's chief federal prosecutor for investigating immigration fraud at the commune. They even stalked the state attorney general, marking him for death. It was also revealed that before the cult settled for salmonella as the weapon of choice, They considered flying a bomb-laden plane into the county courthouse in the Dalles. This was in 1984. How did a spiritual movement dedicated to love and enlightenment turn into a criminal enterprise willing to commit murder? The answer lies in a toxic mix of absolute power, paranoia, and a belief that the ends justified the means. Rajneesh had cultivated a culture of unquestioning devotion among his followers. Sheela, as his right hand, wielded this power with ruthless efficiency. But don't be quick to point the finger at just this woman. A small group of insiders known as the Moms helped keep the rank-and-file Rajneeshees in line through a system of rewards and punishments. Dissent was not tolerated. As pressure from outside authorities increased, this inner circle became more paranoid and more willing to take extreme measures. They saw themselves as warriors protecting their guru and their way of life from hostile outsiders. The irony is that most of the Rajneeshees had no idea what was really going on. They were true believers, drawn to Rajneesh's teachings of love, meditation, and personal growth. They worked long hours, lived in shared quarters, and truly believed they were building a better world. Many of these followers were highly educated and successful in their previous lives. They had left behind careers, families, and comfortable existences to follow Rajneesh. The commune attracted doctors, lawyers, professors, and business executives. These weren't gullible fools, but intelligent people searching for meaning in their lives. Sheela herself was one of them. Before becoming Rajneesh's secretary, she had been Sheela Patel. Born to a privileged family in India, she was smart, ambitious, and charismatic. In another life, she might have been a successful CEO or politician. Many of the Rajneeshees genuinely believed they were part of something revolutionary. They saw themselves as pioneers, creating a new way of living that would transform society. They worked hard, often 7 days a week, to build their city in the Oregon desert. They turned a barren ranch into a thriving community with its own farms, schools, and businesses. In many ways, they were successful. At its peak, Rajneeshpuram was a marvel of planning and execution. They built an entire city from scratch, complete with its own power grid, airport, and public transportation system. They transformed the landscape, bringing greenery and wildlife back to an overgrazed rangeland. But this success came at a terrible cost. They lost sight of the very ideals that had brought them together in the first place. In September 1985, Rajneesh publicly accused Sheela and her inner circle of a litany of crimes, including attempted murder, arson, and poisoning. Sheela and several others fled to Europe but were eventually caught and extradited to the US to face criminal charges. She served 39 months in prison for attempted murder and assault. And since the late 80s, she's been living in Switzerland. Rajneesh himself was arrested while trying to flee the country. He eventually pled guilty to immigration fraud charges and was deported. He returned to Pune, India in 1986, where he went back to his roots, welcoming people from around the world to his ashram and enriching himself with their money. There, he officially changed his name to Osho, which is still used to date. He died in 1990 in his commune, surrounded by his followers, who continued to spread his teachings and lifestyle, and you can still visit the ashram for a fee. His message of love and hope continues to live on in those who are unaware of this entire story. The story of the Rajneeshees is a warning of how a movement rooted in ideals of love and enlightenment can spiral into violence and criminality. Even today, as Osho's teachings continue to attract followers, the dark history of Rajneeshpuram serves as a stark reminder of the perils of unchecked devotion. What do you think of the Rajneeshees and their cult? Please leave your thoughts in the comment section. If you like this story, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our next videos. Check out our other cult stories by clicking the card on the screen. Always remember, beware the leader and never drink the Kool-Aid.